Hello and welcome to Fun Kids Bookworms. My name is Bex and I love books, and this week I've got two brilliant ones to tell you all about. Later on we'll be speaking to Ash Bond, but first it's Nicola Baker. She's whisking us away to the countryside in the next book in her Whistledown Farm series. This is Meeting Meg, and we have got something rather exciting on our hands. I am joined by author Nicola Baker. Hey, welcome back, Nicola.
Thanks for having me back. It's lovely to be back.
I'm very, very happy you are, because when we last spoke, I had your first book with me, and I was promised more books, and you've delivered more books in your Whistledown Farm adventure.
Yes, another two since I spoke to you about the first one, Finding Hope. So Rescuing Ruby came out last autumn, and then Meeting Meg, which is book 3 in the Whistledown Farm Adventures, is out on May the 8th.
So I love these books because they're kind of standalone adventures. So it's helpful if you've read the first few, but it doesn't matter too much if you haven't.
No, you can pick up the stories you go along. So they're set in each season. So the first one was set in spring, the second one autumn, and then the third one that's just about to come out is in summer. So you can pick them up any time. The characters are all the same. So you can read them in order if you want to, but you can just pick them up anywhere along the line if you want to. Yeah, definitely.
So the most recent one, Meeting Meg, is set in summer, is that right?
That's correct. Yes, it's all things summer. So lots of things are going on the farm. So there's lots of sheep shearing, cutting the grass to make hay, lots of wildflower meadows, birds, bees, butterflies, all those sort of things. Everything you'd find in the countryside and on a farm at summertime.
Yeah, so obviously you know a lot about farming. Tell us what is happening on the farms right now and what's happening in the lead up to summer.
So in the lead up, so right now on the farms at the moment, it's lambing time. But then on the lead up to summer, we need to make sure all the sheep have been sheared, and then the grass is ready to cut. So we cut sort of towards the end of summer our grass, because we have beautiful sort of wildflower hay meadows, and we cut them towards the end of summer to make hay for the winter. So we'll bale up all the hay, all the grass that's when it's dried will be baled, and we'll keep it in the hay barn ready for winter time when the sheep will need it the most. So yes, it's quite a busy time on the farm, summertime. So yes, there's lots going on all year round. There's always lots going on the farm.
Yeah, I always think of summer as like a really chilled out time, but I know for farmers that's not quite the case, is it?
It is nice. I mean, it's lovely because the weather's beautiful. You're not sort of battling the wind and the rain and the mud and everything. So it is really lovely. You just need to remember your sun cream, because it does get quite hot when you're out and about all the time.
Oh, I bet, absolutely, yeah. Now tell me, in the book, we are, as the book says, meeting Meg. Who is Meg?
Well, Meg is a little border collie puppy. So Ava, she loves animals, and she's always sort of trying to help out with different animals. And in this book, she goes to an animal rescue centre, but she also goes to help a fellow farmer who's had a litter of border collie puppies. So she's helping out with those, and she's got a little favourite one, which is Meg. So there's a little tri-coloured, like a black, white and tan border collie puppy, and it's the smallest and cutest of the litter, and she sort of has a little soft spot for Meg. So she calls it Meg, and that's who Meg is, and that's who we meet in book 3.
And Ava is a bit of an animal whisperer, so to speak, isn't she? Like we also have a little cameo from Hope from the first book as well.
Yeah, so Hope was a lamb that she rescued in book 1, and Hope's in every single book. She's always popping up here and there. So I've just finished writing book 4, and she's in that one as well. So Hope is a lamb, and this grows up throughout the series of books, and she makes an appearance in every single book. So Ava and Hope's bond is still very strong throughout the series.
Yeah, I did love in the book when the kind of the flock of sheep are coming back, and Hope recognises Ava, and she runs up to her, and it's just a really heartwarming moment.
Yes, it is. I mean, that's the thing, when you have a pet lamb and you have to sort of bottle feed it, you can always really sort of tell them, because they're always, a lot of the time they'll still come up to you in the field, or they're not quite as sort of, stand backish. So you can always usually tell a pet lamb. But Ava and Hope's bond in the books is really strong, and Hope's always really pleased to see Ava, just like Ava's pleased to see Hope.
And so in the book, you've got Ava, who is learning more and more about farming as well, we should say. She's pretty much full on immersed herself into the world.
Yes, I mean, she loves it. She was like a fish out of water in the first book when she first went to stay with her auntie and uncle and her cousin Tom at Easter time. But it's something she fell in love with. And, I say it, quite a lot of the time, that you don't know what you're going to love until you try it. And she hadn't really done, a lot of farming or anything, and she hadn't had a lot of experience with animals. But when she sort of, got stuck in, she realised she really loved that, working with animals and being around them. And as the books have gone on, she's just got more and more involved in the farm, and she's sort of, collecting animals here and there that, she likes to try and help, and, taking a real interest in the countryside and animals. And she just fallen in love with them.
And was there any reason Meg was a border collie?
Yes. Yeah, so we've got a border collie called Bob, who's really lovely, and he works on the farm. But we've always had border collies, and my first real dog was a border collie, and she was called Meg. But we've always had them, and border collies are a big part of our sort of farm life, and I could never really be without a border collie now.
Absolutely, yeah, they are, to me, a very big farming dog. I was watching Babe the other day, actually, and I think there's a border collie in Babe as well.
Yes, there is, yeah. Yeah.
And so in the book, you've also got a whole new gang of friends for Ava that she's hanging out with. It's the summer holidays. She's having a great time.
Yes, it's the summer holidays. Yeah, so she's made a lot of new friends because in book 2, she sort of they moved sort of near the farm, so they moved to be nearby, and she makes a whole new group of friends that are her cousin's Tom's friends, but they become her friends, and they have a little group, and they have a woodland den that they like to go to. So throughout the summer, they're in the den, and they're bird watching from the den, and they're sort of having adventures in the woodlands. And there's a few strange goings on in the den in the third book. And they need to try and work out what on earth is going on in their den, and who's getting into it, or what's getting into it.
Yeah, there's a few little extra mysteries going on here as well. Yes. I also love stuff like bird watching and stuff like flower pressing, stuff that you can do in the countryside that maybe is a little trickier to do in the city, but you probably still can do if you live in the city, right?
Absolutely. I mean, there's lots of different birds that are in the cities. That's the lovely thing about sort of, the Great Britain. You've got the towns and you've got the countryside, and you'll find different birds in the cities than you would out in the countryside, and vice versa. So you can bird watch anywhere. I mean, there's, you might see a lot of pigeons maybe in the city. I don't really know, but it's quite interesting when I go to talk to schools and we talk about animals and birds and things. Every child, wherever that, they live, sees, animals around where they are, and birds where they are, and they may be different, but you can see them. They're just there. You just got to know where to look. I mean, anybody can walk out of their front door and lift up a rock and see little insects and mini beasts and things like that. Wildlife and birds and things and insects are all around us. You just got to look for them.
Yeah, and I feel like Ava is the kind of character who is very keen to do that and just to find out more about the world around her.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I think sometimes, we should all sort of stop a bit more and have a good look around us, because there's lots and lots of things to see, like, and the different times of the year. And that's what's lovely about writing these books. So, in spring, everything's coming into bud, and summer, everything's in full bloom. And then winter, everything sort of dies back again. We just need to sort of stop and look around us, because there's so much to see.
Speaking of winter, I'm guessing the next book will be the next season. Is that right?
That is correct. Yes, that's the last one. So winter is the next one. And that'll be out in, I think it's October. That one's coming out.
Oh, amazing! I won't ask for too many spoilers, but I expect some kind of Christmassy vibe. I'm going to put it out there.
There might be a little bit of Christmassy in there. There might be a bit of snow as well.
Oh, and how do you feel about saying goodbye to Ava, or do you think you might see her again?
I don't know. I mean, never say never. The plan was to write, 4 books with the seasons, and so it's a nice sort of quartet of books. So, but you never know. I mean, I've got lots of stories and lots of different ideas for Ava and her friends. So, the possibilities are endless.
Oh, brilliant stuff. Oh, well, thank you for telling us all about the third book, Meeting Meg. And we look forward to speaking to you for the 4th as well.
Lovely. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Next up, it's Ash Bond's Peregrine Quinn, Mask of Chaos, an amazing adventure where one girl must face gods, monsters, and herself. I'm joined right now by author Ash Bond. Hey Ash, how you doing?
I'm doing really well. It's a very bright, sunny day in Bristol. I've just been for a run, so that was really lovely.
Oh, very nice. You're down in Bristol. I'm in Northumberland at the moment, so we're kind of opposite ends of the country almost.
We are, yes. We'd have to use a portal to get to each other very fast, wouldn't we? But luckily, we have the power of radio.
Well, yeah, the power of good vibes, good friends, and electronics and radio. Yeah. So tell us about that you've got the new book in your Peregrine Quinn series, and I need to know, if people haven't read the first book, where are we? Where are we going? What's happened?
Well, the really cool thing about Peregrine Quinn and the Mask of Chaos is that you can just read it without having read the first one. But the first one's pretty good as well, so you can also start with the first one. So in the first book, we meet our main character, Peregrine, who's 12 years old, with her godfather Daedalus when they are breaking in to the Bodleian Library in Oxford. But don't worry, they've got a really good reason, because the portals between the cosmic realm, which is where Olympus is, and the Terran realm, which is here, have broken down. And the only one who can fix them is Daedalus. Which is fine, except, spoiler, something happens to Daedalus in the first couple of chapters. So now it's up to Peregrine and her new friend, Rowan Strong, who's a dryad and a librarian, those very important things, and Callimachus Thorne, who's a faun, to save Daedalus, fix the portals, and get all the way to the ancient Library of Alexandria before an ancient chaos goddess comes out and destroys all of the realms. So very easy task for her in book one.
Super low stakes, nothing to worry about.
Absolutely.
All fine. So we return in the Mask of Chaos, and the Cosmic Games are approaching.
Yes. And everyone's really excited. One of the best things about being a fantasy author is that you get to have maps in your book. And there is a big map of Cosmopolis, which is the big town in the cosmic realm. So everyone in Cosmopolis is really excited because these cosmic games are approaching. And in the cosmic games, 8 champions compete for a magical golden apple. And back in Oxford, which is where Peregrine lives, she's also really excited. She's like, oh yeah, these cosmic games sound great. But her mum, Penelope, does not want her to go. I think Penelope's like, well, I think you had quite a lot of adventure quite recently. It didn't turn out especially well. So perhaps we just take a little bit of a break from this whole adventuring thing. But then somebody steps in, and that someone is a goddess. That someone is Athene, goddess of wisdom and war, and she chooses Peregrine to be her champion. So not only does Peregrine get to go to the games, she also gets to compete in them as Athene's champion. And obviously everything goes perfectly. But then how does Peregrine get to compete? But she's got 7 other academy trained champions to compete with, and somebody is sabotaging the games and definitely doesn't want Peregrine to win. So dun dun dun.
I mean, you've created so much. There's so many layers here. There's so much going on. I love it so much. So tell me, you must have been inspired by Greek mythology for all of these stories, right?
Yes, I was inspired by lots of different mythologies, actually. I suppose the easiest one to see is the Greek mythology. There's some Roman mythology in there. There's also quite a lot of Arthurian mythology. We've got a character called Nimue, who Nimue was another name for the Lady of the Lake. We've got a character called Arthur. And the portal system is actually based on Norse mythology. So it's a bit of a mythological smoothie, the whole thing.
A mythological smoothie, that's amazing. Oh my goodness, put that on every press release, every blurb that you have.
Get a sticker. Mm-hmm.
That's incredible. And also a bit of an ode to Oxford as well. Have you lived in Oxford? Do you love Oxford?
I do love Oxford. And it is an ode to Oxford, especially in the first book. So I always loved mythology, and I didn't even know that you could study it as a subject. And there's a subject called classics where you get to study mythology and the ancient world. And when I found out there was a subject called classics, I looked at where you could do it, and you could do it in Oxford at the university. And I went to a school, local comprehensive, that didn't have ancient languages or anything to do with classics there that you could study. When I went to Oxford to have a look around, it could basically have been Olympus to me. It was just so wild. There's like these huge buildings and these very fancy looking people and people were dressed in like robes. I was like, oh, it's just like a magical place. So when I eventually did end up going to Oxford, it was a little bit like Peregrine going to the cosmic realm in a way. I was just sort of, I can't believe I'm here, and should I really be here? And what is even is this? So yes, it's an ode to Oxford, but it's also a little hint, I think, about what it feels like to be a little bit of a stranger in a strange world.
What was it like building that world? What was it like putting your character inside this world that you've created?
People ask me this sometimes, and I feel a bit guilty. It doesn't feel like I created it. I think when I was writing, I was actually trying to write something very serious and very, very important. And often the best ideas, I think, happen when you're trying to do something else. And I was writing this very serious and very important thing, and then I got an image of Cal, who's a faun, sitting on a desk that was covered in paperwork and drinking a coffee and working on an iPad-style device that we call a COSPAD in the world. And I think once you've got an image of a faun like doing low-level administration in a basement, you've sort of got the world in a way. And then so lots of the next couple of years was Cal kind of taking me by the hand and leading me through lots of bits of the world. He was like, oh yeah, this happens over there, and that happened, and this happens, and oh yeah, look at this, and look at this, which is probably why it took me so long to write the first book, because I was exploring the world. And the Peregrine books are written from lots of different points of view, so you get to see the world through lots of different eyes as well. So that was really interesting to write and to explore, but it did very much feel like exploring rather than creating.
That's nice. It's like it's unfolding in front of you and you're just kind of like walking around it.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm guessing we're going to have at least a third book in the series as well, right?
Oh yes, I've actually just drafted it. So that was handed in a couple of weeks ago. So like I said before, each of the books, they sort of stand alone in a way. So the first book is very much a quest book. You know, we think Lord of the Rings, you go A to B to C, you know, and you get something cool along the way. And then the second book, Cosmic Games, very much a sports movie. I love a sports movie book. I love trials. I love challenges. Thinking like Hunger Games style, but with slightly less murder. And then book 3 is a heist. So thinking like The Sting and things like that. So yes, so the third book was very, very interesting to write. And I would love to write more books, but we'll see. We'll see about that.
Oh, classic author leaving us on a cliffhanger. I can
Yeah.
respect that. All right, well, thank you so much for telling us all about Peregrine Quinn. I've got a little quick fire round of questions, if that's okay. I do it with every author who comes to Fun Kids. Mm-hmm. So first up, super easy, books or Kindles?
Books.
Heroes or villains?
Villains.
Film adaptation or TV adaptation?
Ooh, TV adaptation.
Skandar or Percy Jackson?
That's very unfair because I know Annabelle, but I did grow up with Percy Jackson, so I refuse to answer that question.
Okay, that's a good enough answer. That's fair enough. That was a tricky one. Beginnings or endings?
Beginnings.
Hogwarts or Narnia?
Narnia.
Laptop or write by hand?
Oh, I write everything by hand.
Wow, okay, wow.
Yeah.
Do you write 9 to 5 or just whenever you fancy?
I like to take myself to lovely Greek islands and write for weeks at a time.
Best answer I've ever had. Excellent.
Yeah.
Why not? Treat yourself.
But whenever I can.
Paddington Bear or Winnie the Pooh?
Paddington.
And finally, the big one, salt and vinegar or cheese and onion?
Oh, salt and vinegar all the way.
Yeah. You know what? I knew we were going to be friends, and that's the correct answer. That's the one I wanted. Yeah.
It's the easiest question.
I thought, Ash, don't let me down now. We've had such a nice time. Yeah. That is the easiest question, but you'd be surprised how many people get it wrong, in my opinion. Ash, thank you so much for telling us all about Peregrine Quinn and the Mask of Chaos, and it's in bookshops now, is that right?
It absolutely is, yes.
Well, 2 very different books there, but 2 brilliant ones nonetheless. Big thank you to Nicola Baker and Ash Bond. Remember, if you've enjoyed this, tell me all about what books you're checking out at the moment, wherever it is you're listening to the podcast, or drop me a line at funkidslive.com. I'll see you soon. Bye.